Hey everybody, welcome to Gary Talks. I wouldn't say that Predator is one of the all-time great movie franchises because there are some pretty horrible entries in there, but it is still one of my favorites and one of the most fun. So today, I'm going to rank all the Predator films, and I have two special guests, the co-directors of the new Predator film, Killer of Killers, Dan Trachtenberg and Joshua Wassung. We'll talk to them in just a bit. But first, let's look at the worst Predator film, Alien vs. Predator: Requiem. A film that takes everything wrong with the first Alien vs. Predator and makes it worse. The Pred Alien is a cool idea, but the film's darkness, literally, you can't see anything. The unlikable characters and the mean-spirited tone make it just a slog. It tries to be edgy by killing children and pregnant women, but it's more juvenile than shocking. Its spot here at the bottom recognizes that it's just a mess that fails both franchises. Coming in at number 7, another one that sucks, Alien vs. Predator. The concept of Alien vs. Predator should have been a sci-fi horror fan's dream, but Paul W.S. Anderson's sanitized, PG-13 approach neuters the terror of both creatures. The pyramid setting had potential, but the characters are thin and the plot is nonsense, and like some Godzilla movies, we waste time on humans when we just want to see a monster battle. While it's occasionally fun, it's mostly a missed opportunity that fails to deliver the atmosphere or intensity either franchise deserved. Number 6 is the Predator film that disappointed me by far the most. Shane Black has always been one of my favorite screenwriters. His work with Lethal Weapon changed Hollywood forever. And he was one of the actors in the original Predator, so I figured if anybody was gonna right this ship and get Predator back where it belongs, it would be Shane Black. Boy, was I wrong. Number 6, The Predator. Shane Black's The Predator squanders his potential with a tone-deaf script that clashes goofy humor with gory violence. It just doesn't work. The ensemble cast tries, but the film's identity crisis, never deciding if it's a horror, thriller, or self-parody, makes it a frustrating watch. Its place here at 6 reflects its wasted ideas and muddled execution. Coming in at number 5, Predators. This Robert Rodriguez sequel tries to return the franchise to its roots by dropping a group of killers onto a Predator game reserve planet. It's a cool concept that lets the Predators hunt humans in their own backyard. But, as much as I love Adrian Brody, I can't buy him as a tough guy. Uninspired dialogue and a lack of suspense keep it solidly in the middle. While it's better than the lowest entries, it feels like a missed opportunity. Next up at number 4 is the brand new Predator film that you can find on Hulu, Killer of Killers. Landing in 4th place, Predator: Killer of Killers stands out as a bold addition that dares to experiment with the franchise formula. As an animated anthology co-directed by praised Dan Trachtenberg and Joshua Wassung, it cleverly expands the Predator myth by exploring stories set across different times and cultures, each segment focusing on a predator hunting the world's most dangerous human. I love how each segment builds its own plot before thrusting a predator into it. The animation format allows the anthology to push creative boundaries, delivering hyper-stylized violence and inventive visuals that live action would struggle to achieve on a budget. Some segments are stronger than others, but the overall experience is a pulse-pounding, globe-trotting exploration of what happens when the galaxy's greatest hunter targets the strongest of humanity at any period in time. And here is my interview with the co-director of that film, Joshua Wassung. So first off, how did you get involved with Predator: Killer of Killers?
Sure. So I got a chance to work with Dan on many projects over many years, and always had such a great time developing fun moments on the projects he was developing, making previs, and exploring ideas and honing, all the cool possibilities of those projects. That kind of culminated in working on Prey. I worked with him on Prey for about 2 years, off and on, and developed several sequences uh, on that project, and really kind of developed a shorthand of working together. We would write little sticky notes and put it on the whiteboard and do little doodles and be like, what if this, what if this, what if this, and what if this beat, then this beat, and this camera, and really develop a language I kind of learned what Dan's aesthetic is, and just had a fantastic time. At the same time, we were developing our animation pipeline, and we were showing him all these cool tests and shorts that we were developing, and he just got really excited about it. And then we had the idea of making an animated Predator movie. He pitched it to the studio, and then he invited me to be a co-director with him, and that's how it came to be.
So then what's the difference between the previs animation and the animation in its final form, like in the movie?
Sure. So working in previs, you get a chance to actually animate the story in a really rapid way. So in a way, you're doing the same thing you'd be doing for a final, but you're just doing it so quickly, so that you don't spend too much time allowing iteration. Making iteration is king to really, hone that story and try out this possibility, that possibility, this possibility. And then when the like edit kind of coalesces, you're able to, pass that on to the future departments of that project in live action. When working in animation, we actually started in exactly the same way. But we were using Game Engine as the core of our pipeline. We prevised it, but this time we prevised everything, start to finish. We made the entire edit of the movie, and then we, honed that edit and iterated that edit until everyone, Dan, myself, the creatives and executives at 20th, everyone got a chance to weigh in, and then we all agreed, all right, this is what we want to make. We locked it, and then we moved into all the departments. So the difference then becomes carrying that artistry into each and every one of these departments. And so the kinds of notes I would give in previs in a rapid form, I got to kind of zoom in and be, giving additional, more nuanced notes, and I would paint over things and draw over things on a daily basis on everything you can imagine, from the lighting and the color script um, and the compositing, but also the animation performances, and giving feedback in that way, and making sure it was something that Dan was excited about as well, and presenting the things that I knew that was going to work for him, and he would share his feedback. So it was the difference really was the scope, and how many departments we carried that through, but it's rooted in the same process.
Well, how does this movie further expand the Predator universe?
This film expands the Predator universe by showing different time periods, different predators, and each with their own personality, each with their own design and size and different weapons. And it really kind of shows that there's maybe different subspecies and that have, different scales and different abilities. But we go one step further because we also show some of their traditions, maybe some new traditions that fans haven't seen yet. And we show like little glimpses of the culture in a way that's really exciting, to expand upon, and to bring that to the fans was really fulfilling.
Finally, what can Predator fans look forward to seeing in Predator: Killer of Killers?
I think this film will resonate because we have these characters that are so wildly different, and they lived hundreds of years apart from one another. But yet there is this through line of family, and what does it mean to be family in in a Viking era? But what does it mean to be family in Edo, Japan in the 1600s? What does it mean to be family in, during the draft of World War II? And how can you carry on the legacy of your father? And then how do those families affect you when you're thrust in front of these like alien wild settings? So the fact that we're able to build that theme and weave it into the story across multiple time periods, I think is really unique and fresh. And I think it's going to be really exciting. And I think that fans can look forward to finding out where do those threads weave together, and how do they affect the characters in the finale of the film.
Now back to my rankings. Coming in at number 3, Danny Glover and Gary Busey in Predator 2. Taking the Predator to a crime-ridden, sweltering 1997 Los Angeles is a bold swing that mostly works. Danny Glover is an everyman cop forced to face a cosmic hunter far beyond his pay grade. Come on, He's already too old for this shit. The urban jungle setting is inspired, the heatwave atmosphere is oppressive, and the film expands predator lore, introducing the idea of multiple predators and their code of honor. The over the top violence and chaotic energy make it memorable, even if the plot is messy at times. While it lacks the tight pacing of the original, Predator 2 deserves its third place slot for its audacious world building and raw, sweaty intensity. Next up at number 2, a movie that none of us even knew was coming out, and then it was dropped on Hulu and surprised us all. Prey. Prey breathes new life into the franchise by smartly going back to basics, both in concept and setting. By dropping the Predator into 1719 Comanche territory, director Jan Trachtenberg reinvigorates the hunter versus hunted formula, while spotlighting Amber Midthunder's fierce performance as Naru. The stripped-down story lets the brutal efficiency of the Predator and the resourcefulness of a young warrior clash in a way that feels fresh and grounded. It's the first sequel to truly understand the franchise's core, the thrill of the hunt. I recently had a chance to talk to the director of that film, and he also co-directed Predator Killer of Killers. Here's my talk with Dan Trachtenberg. You previously directed the awesome movie Prey, but where did the idea for Predator Killer of Killers come from?
So the film came from me trying to figure out, after Prey was a success, what could I possibly do next? And we certainly had opened the door for the Predator crashing into different time periods. But I didn't want to just fulfill that what if fantasy. I really wanted to give audiences even more than they were expecting. So that's where the idea of anthology came from. What if we told multiple stories, but making sure, like Prey, that those are stories that were very, very character and thematically oriented, super intense, crazy action sequences before the Predator even shows up. And then when he drops in, it amplifies things even more. So that's really where the genesis of Predator Kill of Killers lies.
Yeah, well, one of the great things that you're doing is you're really expanding the Predator universe. How does Predator Killer of Killers keep this expansion going?
Well, certainly it expands it chronologically, and that now we're seeing what the Predator was up to in all these different time periods. But also, it has some things in store for audiences that doesn't just um, extend what you know of predators, it actually widens it, and sheds light on what could have been happening throughout all the movies that you've even seen already.
For people who might not know, this is an animated film. What are some of the challenges when it comes to telling these stories through animation?
The funny thing about animation is that you would think that the possibilities would be endless because you're less bound by the practical world. But as my co-director Josh Wassung has said, you can make anything, but you have to build everything. So you still have to build every set, every item of wardrobe, and every actor. Nothing, no one is just cast and they're there, or a location exists and you can just shoot it. Everything must be constructed. So you still run up against limitations in time and budget, and it forces you to be creative just the same way that happens in live action. But on the flip side, you get to express yourself in a very different medium. I love that animation really puts art forward so that everything can be very noticeably beautiful and brutal at the same time.
Finally, how do you think hardcore Predator fans are going to respond to this movie?
In my mind, this movie is like, if you like Predator, this is an IV drip straight into your veins of the most amount of Predator you can handle. It has an insane amount of violence and dismemberment. I feel like there's a Guinness situation potentially happening with the amount of decapitations that exist in this movie. But at the same time, I think the original Predator was actually quite character focused and really was about something, because the end of the movie, it does not end with all the big muscles and big guns winning. And Prey was also something very emotionally charged, and this movie is incredibly intense, as well as insanely violent.
And now for number one. I mean, could there be any doubt? It is the best of the Predator movies by far, one of the greatest sci-fi action films of all time, Predator.
You son of a bitch!
The original Predator remains the undisputed king because it's a perfect genre blend. Equal parts action, horror, and sci-fi. John McTiernan's lean, tense direction turns the Central American jungle into a claustrophobic arena where Arnold Schwarzenegger's Dutch and his elite team face off against an unstoppable alien hunter. The creature designed by Stan Winston is iconic, and the film deftly shifts from a macho 80s action film to terrifying survival horror. Its simplicity is its brilliance. Pure atmosphere, perfect pacing, and a final showdown that still electrifies. It's the blueprint for all that came after, and none have matched its balance of suspense and spectacle. Well, those are my Predator rankings. There is a brand new Predator film coming out this fall called Predator Badlands, which is directed by Dan Trachtenberg, and hopefully it kicks ass and will be near the top of the list. I don't think anything will ever beat the original Predator. Next week, I'm going to rank the albums of one of my all-time favorite bands, Green Day. See you then.
From capes to tapes, Gary's on the case. He's breaking down each scene, every place. On Gary Talks, he's quick with his peculiar wits. From plot twists to the comic strips.